What's your name?
The Conid Wing.
Ruth Woldemuddin.
Angela Luevano Juarez.
Justin Munn.
Sophia Reyes.
Olivia Taylor.
My name is Giovanni Bautista.
Abraham Cruz.
Zachary Thomas Cook.
Andrew Quesada.
Armando Duarte.
Christopher Song.
Jace Aguilar.
I am South Sudanese.
I'm Ethiopian, that's also in East Africa.
I'm Korean, South Korean. I'm not North Korean, I'm South Korean. So I have to make that clear. A lot of people get confused.
My cultural background? Oh, I'm Mexican. My mom's from Chihuahua.
I am Puerto Rican, Black, Asian, and white.
My grandma came from Mexico, and she was pregnant with my dad at the time when she came over to the United States. They lived in California, and it was a really struggle for them as they were moving a lot and they didn't have a lot of money to provide for the family. And they decided to move to Colorado and started off in a small neighborhood down in downtown, and it was really tough. A lot of jobs, a lot of moving still, and kind of passes on today until we found good jobs.
I was born in Mexico, Hermosillo, Sonora, and I came to the United States when I was 1 year old. And I don't really remember Mexico, but I'm proud to be Mexican.
My cultural background consists of my mom and my dad. So my mom was from my mom's mom came from Czechoslovakia and like around there, so like a European country. And then her dad was also from like they came from kind of like around Europe. I'm not really sure there. And then for my dad's side of the family, his mom kind of came from like the north side, like Scandinavia, because his kind of like
I am Hispanic.
How about like your parents, your
Mexican.
grandparents?
Both are from Mexico.
Both you say both my parents are from Mexico.
Huh?
Say both of my parents.
Both of my parents are from Mexico.
I'm Mexican.
Oh damn.
I am quarter Vietnamese from my mom's side, along with a little bit of French, and then my dad's side I've got some Greek, Assyrian, Britain, Canadian.
I'm half American, half Korean.
My dad he's African American. My mom is, honestly, I don't know, because my mom's mom is part Native American. My mom's dad is from Spain, so it's kind of like a mix of a lot of things.
I'm Filipino.
In the beginning, I didn't feel, as much belonging in the Regis Jesuit community. Being in, like a school where people who don't look like you or, relate to some of the same things you go through. And I think until you find a group of friends who, relate or understand you, you start to feel belonging.
I think it was like a new experience, but it's like something that I'll experience like other times in my life. But I didn't it was just something that like I enjoyed at first. Now I just don't really care for it.
I don't know, I feel weird because I'm not used to it, and it's weird, yeah.
Yeah, I feel pretty integrated. I mean, I don't get bullied that much, so.
I mean, in middle school I was in a predominantly white school, so I kind of just learned to accept where I am and focus on my education.
Sometimes it can be a little bit uncomfortable, but then again, coming into Regis, I also was aware of the situation that I was going to be a minority. There are times when there are kids here who have said some ignorant things, but then again, it's probably because I have to give them the benefit of the doubt. It's because they've been in that kind of environment for most of their lives. And as a minority, it can be my job, or not necessarily my job, but I could help out and kind of remind people of what they're saying and how it can sometimes be harmful to the minority community.
I mean, the environment's kind of different. I came from a lower income family, and a lot of people here are really privileged, but they do not.
Coming from a really diverse middle school, which didn't really have a lot of white people, I didn't really know their culture.
I kind of feel I feel it's kind of sad how the school is predominantly white, but it's kind of to be expected. And even the school I came from was even worse. It's sad, but my school it had no diversity at all. So like even coming in was like, or like coming into this was even like more diverse and kind of expand my horizons. And it kind of like, it's showing me like how much I kind of want to like further that, like see how much like better, like bigger it can get.
Unlike my old middle school enunciation, it was more diverse, but here at Regis, I get to see more
Less diversity.
more Caucasian culture.
I mean, when I first came in, I guess I could say I was a little worried. I mean, I didn't know many other people other than white people, and I was like, this place is a little weird. So I mean, I just pretty much got used to it, and half my friends are white, so.
I don't really care. I care as people are nice, or as long as people are nice.
Not really. I guess other than the fact that like I know that I'm like somewhat of a minority, but I do find like I don't really care because everyone just has a different personality, really.
I would say normal because like that's kind of how I grew up. It's usually white. Like I'm usually around a lot of white people, not really people of my color or race. And yeah.
There should be more diversity and some more acceptance of non-white people.
I don't think it's really represented at all. Like, I've never heard anything about, South Sudanese in Regis Jesuit about it or anything. So I think it definitely could be, introduced somehow. But, yeah. I think it'd be better integrated by, involving it in, like, diversity days or just anything related to, like, cultural things that we can just put that in there. Okay, South Sudan on the east side of Africa, there are different tribes, different cities. There's a lot of cultural food, dances. It recently became independent, not really recently. Okay, yeah. July 9th, 2011 is when they became independent, a new country separated from Sudan.
I'm Ethiopian, that's also in East Africa. There's a lot of cultural, like, foods and then, like, dances. I think for my culture specifically, we could probably do more things for, like, Diversity Day because there's not much representation of, like, the Ethiopian culture. But as a whole, I think the school should reach out more to, like, further, like, than other private schools and to, like, more schools like my school. I knew it because, like, my friend Angela, but, like, I wasn't aware of Regis before this.
I mean, I see a lot of people that I can relate to. I don't know. I mean, yeah.
It's pretty neat. We have some good food. There's something called K-pop. It's my culture is being represented in Regis, not that very much because there's not really Asian stuff in here, besides the food sometimes. But it doesn't taste that good, so it's okay. I don't know. Maybe you should put like a South Korean flag somewhere. It'd be pretty cool.
Well, I went to a dual language school, and elementary school, and so from there I kind of learned to speak Spanish and English, and we celebrated a lot of Hispanic cultures, like from Peru, from Mexico, and all that. I mean, I feel like they're putting an effort into incorporating it. I feel like it's kind of a little too much, like it was fun, like the quinceañera.
I definitely express it. It's not like something that I try to hide, but so yeah. It depends on like certain topics. I definitely have very like certain beliefs, and there are times in like in a classroom environment it's kind of hard when I can actually express my beliefs and my cultural beliefs, because it can kind of be looked upon like just in a classroom environment. Sometimes it's hard to think because like people are judgmental, and I don't want to live in that kind of environment where there's just a bunch of conflict all the time. So I'm in a group called DAG. It's a club, and through that I've noticed like more and more that we have conversations and more we have discussions at our meetings, that I feel like we're working on making this school place a comfortable environment where everyone can express their cultural beliefs, especially the minority group. DAG is an acronym for Diversity Action Group. It's a club that meets mostly on Wednesdays, most of the time every week. And it's just a group where we obviously talk about diversity, and a lot of the times people think that you have to be a minority to be a part of the group, which is not true at all. The whole point of the group is to try to create community throughout the school and create community between different nationalities, whether you're white, whether you're black, whether you're Asian, whether you're Latino, and just so on and so forth. So that's just what it is, and we try to come together and find community and unity.
I mean, you could really tell groups from other groups. You have, I'm not trying to be racist or anything, but you can see the whites, and then you can see our culture,
Blacks,
Mexicans, blacks, whatever, minorities, I guess you could say. In another group, I don't know. It's just you can see that they don't mix as much. So I remember last year, it was the quince, or was that this year? I don't remember, but it was the school, like quinceañera for the school, and people really misinterpreted that as a time to party, I guess, and they don't really see the whole deeper meaning of our culture, as in a young woman going into that phase to where she becomes a real woman and takes a big step forward in her family.
I see a lot of Latinx here in Regis, and they're just they're just in groups, but they also include other races in their groups. And
being Mexican is a privilege, so I
guess just like having people learn about the culture more.
Well, I've started friendships like that because, hey, you're Asian, let's talk. Well, I'd say it's bigger around other family because when it's just me and my immediate family, it's just kind of, I don't really know where all the influence comes from. It's just, we live like we do. Well, we drink tea. I don't know, but the food, you could probably say the food.
I don't really know. I mean, Korean culture's kind of already invaded America already. I mean,
would you say you've ever been like treated differently or judged for being Korean?
like in the past or here at Regis?
Here, probably both.
If
not here at Regis, just
in the past, yeah. Here at Regis, not really. The one thing I hate is when I tell people in Korean, they always ask north or south.
Yes.
Yes.
Would you mind clearing that up for the camera? Because I feel like that would be good to have in there.
When you ask someone if they're from North or South Korea, there's an obvious answer of they're most likely from South Korea, purely because if you're from North Korea, you probably wouldn't have been able to leave the country.
Also, you'd have a target on your head.
Yeah. So, I don't know. If someone tells you you're Korean, just don't ask them North or South. Just say, oh, that's pretty neat.
Hey, that's pretty neat.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
Honestly, I personally don't feel that it really can. Like, everyone grows up in their own way, so, like, you can show them the culture, but you can't, like, say practice it.
Not really. No. Diversity Day.
It's not surprising that that's the case for where we are, not only geographically, but Catholic and private, choosing my words properly. So it's not surprising to me, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
When I started here, I think we were at 87% white. And I think that we are at 70-something at this point.
How long ago did you start?
13 or 14 years. There's been a big change since I've been here.
How do you think we can keep improving that? How do you think we can keep bringing more diversity to school?
I think outreach and going to different feeder schools around the metro area is a good way, which is what Mr. Mueller has done. He goes all over the city, where we didn't always used to do that. Oh, by word of mouth too. Lots of times kids tell me that, oh no, my friend came here, and then they come here. What I've noticed in the last couple of years is that my classrooms are more diverse racially and ethnically. I don't know about socioeconomic because that just isn't always something that I know about. But what I see is the culture stays the same. So the kids that have the power in the school remain with the power in the school, and therefore the other kids don't often have as much of a voice as they probably should have. I've had classrooms where actually the majority of the kids are probably not white. And it's still the white kids that have the voice in the room, which is a cultural thing. Regis cultural thing.
As a college student, I know the struggle, and boy is it real. Anywho, to answer your questions, being at a white school was hard. It was hard to fit in and relate to the white culture. There's movies I never saw that are classics to them, or songs I've never heard before that again are classics. I felt left out, not because of who I was, but how different I was. White people love to feel safe, and an outsider with a different life story from them makes them uncomfortable. That made me uncomfortable to be left out from the insider scoop. So I gravitated towards other Latinos as my friend group. To lead into the next question, I felt acceptance with the teachers at Regis. I think it's because of their maturity, and they are used to different people being that they've loved longer and experienced more. They are the biggest part of diversity at the school, or at least the strongest advocates. Then there was Diversity Day, which felt forced at first. I always thought those who were diverse should have a pass to stay home from school that day. But over the years, I was just glad I didn't do schoolwork that day and instead of had some fun. Being Hispanic limited my experience internally. To elaborate, by senior year, I knew that everyone in my class knew of me, but because of the initial aloofness freshman year, I never got the chance to move away from that place, as after that first year, people already had friend groups and such, so I stayed away from the remaining time there. Hope this helped. Maybe not the happiest of experiences, but it be like that.